Fundamentalist Christian Rick Joyner is going to explain to us how he knows that evolution is impossible and, quote, ridiculous, because naturally a pastor knows more about evolution than scientists.
There is some truth to evolution, some truth to the fact that people may get taller, certain species may improve certain characteristics that they have. There's a development within species, but we do not have a single example anywhere in all of history of species change. Not one. And we're told in Genesis they will each multiply after their kind. And you can mix a donkey and a horse and get a mule, but mules cannot reproduce. They can only reproduce after their own kind. We have no species change. Why would a whole theory, everything taught in our schools, be based on something that is so outrageously not only ridiculous, it's impossible?
I love how he starts out by saying, there's some truth to evolution, and then by the end he says, it's outrageous and ridiculous and impossible. Which is it? Is there some truth to it, or is it, oh, it's just absolutely insane, it's crazy, and we should stop teaching it? What a silly, silly guy. I always find it hilarious when admitted fundamentalists try to teach people science. But you're admitting you don't give a shit about science. If you are a fundamentalist of any religion, you don't give a shit about science because they're totally warring with each other. Obviously, science wins because it's correct, but the people who believe in religion, you have to overlook all types of science to believe in a fundamentalist version of any religion. So look at the points he makes. His argument is actually, well, mules exist, therefore evolution is ridiculous. How many scientists contemplated suicide when they heard a guy say that? When they heard him say that? Probably standing there with a gun to, like, oh, please, some of the world, isn't this stupid? Oh, God, they're so stupid. Okay. Let me try to explain this as simply as possible. Evolution by natural selection, it's not open to debate. Yes, it's a theory in scientific terms, but the word theory in scientific terms is like saying a fact. The word hypothesis is basically what a theory is when we use the term theory just in casual conversation. Okay, gravity is a theory. There you go. That shows you how concrete this is. Now, what is evolution by natural selection? Let me give you a perfect example. Let's say there's a group of fish, a school of fish, right? And one fish in the group is particularly quick and agile, although I don't know if agile is a thing you could be in the water. But one fish out of the 100 fish he's very agile. And that makes sense, and that's useful because there's a predator for these fish, and it's a shark. It's a specific kind of shark that eats the fish. So the slower, non-agile fish, what's going to happen to them? They're probably going to be eaten by the shark, right? And then what's going to happen to the agile, quick fish? Well, that quick fish is going to get to fuck all the female fish. And then the fish babies, most of them, or a lot of them, are going to have the trait of being faster because it was passed down through the fish genes, right? And then the next generation, or 3 or 4 generations down the road, all the fish of this particular kind of fish are quick and agile, and they can avoid the sharks better, and those are the ones that survived. All the slow ones died off, and the new trait got passed on, and then they survived. That's what survival of the fittest actually is, right? Another example. So you have some sort of, I don't know, land animal that doesn't have eyes, some sort of snake that has no eyes. And then at one time, there's a freak genetic mutation, and you have one that actually has the ability to see. They have an eye, and it's like a shitty eye, but it's still an eye nonetheless, and they can see like outlines of stuff, and it's black and white, and it's gross. It's a primitive eye. It's a mutation, but it exists, right? Well, guess what? The other eyeless snakes, or whatever it is, they're going to die off, right? Because they'll get eaten by the other predators. But the one that actually can see, they're going to get to fuck all the females, and they're going to have the babies, and some of them are going to have the eye, and then the ones with the eyes are going to keep fucking, and then down the road, a lot of them are going to have the eye, and then boom, the old ones that had no eyes all died out. And now the snakes all have eyes. You know, how many generations removed. The idea that these guys, they're going to debate it, and they're going to talk about it, and they're going to say, oh, it's so silly because mules exist. But that's just stupid. You don't actually know the information. And look, it's not just what I'm laying out in this rhetorical fashion that shows that evolution is true. That's the idea that I laid out for you. Okay? But in terms of evidence for it, there is mountains of evidence for it. Mountains of evidence for it. Okay? So a guy like Rick Joyner, an admitted fundamentalist religious person, you have already given away any credibility that you had left to talk about an issue like evolution. I mean, you are essentially a math teacher who comes in a room where it's an English class and they're teaching Shakespeare, who says, I'll take this over. I've never read Shakespeare, but I got this shit. No, you don't. No, you don't. Go down the hall and teach some long division, bitch. Shakespeare's not for you. You're fucking out of your league right now. And of course, with religion, it's even worse because religion is fucking made up and it's based on nonsense from previous generations, and they abide by that. And they're trying to, essentially get involved with something that's like astrophysics to them, way above their head. But they'll still arrogantly pretend like they know what they're talking about, as if their word carries any weight at all.